What a doula does is they provide support to expectant parents and also new parents as well. So I typically support my clients during pregnancy. I attend births. I attend the birth. I'm not there to replace their partner, but I'm there to support both the birthing woman and her partner. Mm. And I'm a postnatal doula, which again is a role that so many people aren't aware that even exists.
Yes.
So postnatal doula is I go into families' homes when they have their babies, and I offer them support completely based on what they need. So it looks very different for each family. I like to think of it as mothering the mother.
Baby clothes rental company, and we think, or rather I know, that parenting is hard and saving the planet is hard. And our mission is to make both of those things a little bit easier by allowing you to rent your baby clothes, which is super affordable, super easy to do, convenient, and eco-friendly as well.
Oh my gosh, I think with my first everything, because it was such a big transition, I found that the more children I had, it wasn't such a big change. One of the things that I really should have done was make more of a postnatal kind of plan.
Yes, yeah.
I was very much like, you know, all about the pregnancy and the birth, what's going to happen.
Yes.
And I didn't really think much past that.
Yeah.
Other than maybe buying things, but in terms of how I was going to look after myself afterwards, I really didn't think much about that. Really hard for me was losing a bit of my identity. So whilst you know, it's great becoming a mother, there is a sense of loss for your previous life. Lots of people don't really want to say that because it sounds ungrateful. To this day, it is always a bit of a struggle for me, the balance between who I am as an individual.
Well, like I went to NCT and it's all about the pregnancy and the birth, and you're so focused on like the end point of like the birth and what's going to happen and what's it going to be like and do I want this or that or whatever, and you sort of do quick like, and here's how to change a baby's nappy, about how you're going to cope and how you need to be looked after and supported. You just sort of like, and then I'll have a baby and that will be fine. But, you know, the birth, although, you know, it is challenging, is a very short part, hopefully. And then, you know, you've got a new baby for a long time. And yeah, I think that's so right that people need to think a bit more and have like more support in place for when you've had a baby, because I found that really hard. Like with my first, again, I had like a really, you know, long labour, as they often are with your first one, just like completely wiped out. And just like for the first 2 weeks, I was like in bed. I didn't even go downstairs. And, you know, feeding was really difficult. You know, obviously not getting any sleep, and you just your whole world is turned upside down. And, you know, you're so focused on looking after the baby. Is the baby feeding? You know, how do I get them to stop crying? And your partner's just trying to help with that. And yeah, you just like, you need a lot of support, I think, as well. So yeah, I kind of really struggled in the beginning with all those aspects. And I think comparison is really dangerous, because often you've got a lot of friends who are having babies at the same time, and inevitably some of them will have had like, you know, the perfect kind of birth, or the kind of birth you might have wanted, and they'll be back up, you know, doing the shopping like the next day and just seem to be breezing through it all, you know, and you're going, oh, but they're already going for a walk around the park and I can't even get out of bed. Like, what's wrong with me? And you're so like emotional in that time anyway, aren't you? Like everything is just, well, you know, everything was just, you know, a nightmare.
And I see so often like this whole comparison thing. And one thing that I just know for sure through all the families that I've supported is, no matter what you kind of see on the surface, so, you know, if somebody says, oh, my baby's sleeping through the night, and you're kind of like, oh, God, what's wrong with me? Am I doing something wrong? why isn't my baby sleeping through the night? You know what? There'll be some other challenge that they have,
Yes,
that they
yeah.
need. One thing I always say is, and people find it a bit strange, I always say I don't give advice, and people, what do you do then? But what I mean is, I'm not ever going to come and say to someone, I think you should do this, because there's so many people already telling you that.
Yes.
The way I like to support people, which I have found kind of works every time, is it's more about listening to them and creating a plan together that's going to work for them, rather than be like, right, here's what you need to do to sort out your problem. Because as you know, all babies are different, and what works for one baby and mother and family may not work for another.
And again, like, this sort of idea is to help parents, because just like take some of that mental load off. So because you're always having to buy new clothes or sort through old clothes, and then either resell them or take them to the charity shop or work out if they're stained, and then you've got to take them to textiles recycling. It's just like a whole load of faff you don't need when you're like a new parent. You've got a new baby, you've got your life, you know, you're trying to sort of get back on track as well. So yeah, the idea is that it's just super convenient and easy to do, because it's really familiar. It's just like online shopping, and there's no minimum or like set number of pieces you have to have either, so it can just fit around exactly what you need at the time. So it might be like the weather changes, or your baby has a growth spurt and you just need something for like a short amount of time, or you might have loads of hand-me-downs but you just need like 1 or 2 pieces to fill the gaps. So that was like all based on like my own experience of, you know, having to always be buying and getting rid of new clothes, just trying to set it up so it's as easy as possible to use.
It sounds, I just wish I had, honestly, I wish I'd known about it, you know, back, or it had been available back when I had my first, because yeah, the amount of time you spend like handling and sorting, and you know, like, okay, what age is this? Okay, this is, I've been given a hand-me-down, I don't know if we're going to wear it, we'll store it somewhere, and then you, like, it's stained all around, you know, around the neck,
yeah
as well, the sleeves.
Yes.
Oh, and yeah, I hear you with the sustainable as well. I watched a documentary a few years ago, and honestly it really opened my eyes to like what fast fashion, which is ultimately nowadays, isn't it? If you think of how cheaply you can buy stuff in a supermarket, it does make you question what, you know, what's going on for this to be that cheap.
It's mad, isn't it? When you think like everything is hand, you know, that's a person that is sewing all those seams on a, you know, it's such a skilled job. Like, I am useless on a sewing machine. And especially like these like teeny tiny clothes, you know, they're sewing the teeny tiny buttons on, and you think you can buy something for just like a couple of pounds in a supermarket. It just, yeah, it so doesn't reflect like the time and effort and resources that went into growing the cotton, making the garment, all that stuff. Yeah, so we only stock like brands that are ethically made, sustainable, and use organic cotton, and so, you know, they are the more expensive ones, rightly, because of all those factors. So, but I think that it can be off-putting because you don't really want to spend like £30 on a baby grow that your baby only might wear a few times. So like renting them makes it a lot more affordable as well.
Like the high-end brands and quality and sustainability, because it makes it actually something that people could therefore achieve.
Yeah.
Think, okay, I'm going into a shop and I am going to buy like 10 baby grows that are all, you know, nice quality. That talking a lot of money, aren't you?
Yeah, suddenly you spent £200-300 and you're like, oh my god, I've got to do this all again like in a couple of months time. It's saying how, you know, you wish this had been around when your kids were younger. I was like looking at your posts on Instagram about like a night nanny, and I was like, oh my god, what I wouldn't have given for like a night nanny. Oh, or just like a postnatal doula, like for my first baby.
I've supported quite a few families now as a night nanny. It's often when families are really struggling with sleep, which is kind of pretty normal, isn't it? But I have supported some families that have had particularly challenging kind of sleep issues around sleep. And sometimes they just want a break, and also like a fresh pair of eyes, somebody who can kind of just talk to them, talk through it. Parents might go for a nap while I'm looking after the baby. I might take the baby out for a long walk. If the baby's asleep and they're asleep, I'll do some housework. I'll do some tidying, organising. I love organising, so I often like say, do you need anything sorting out? And I'll do that. So yeah, for me, I love doing it, and it does bring a lot of value to the family.
So tell me, what is a placenta encapsulation?
So for thousands of years, basically since the dawn of time, we have been, as a species, consuming our placentas. It's happened in different ways. There's been different practices all over the world. What I do is I offer a really kind of no hassle service where, so when you've had your baby, I provide parents with a kit that they put, it's often a midwife, so you wouldn't even have to do anything. So the midwife puts the placenta into this kind of ice pack kits that's going to keep it cool. I then collect it and get it into my specialist placenta fridge pretty quickly. I then create the remedies that the parent wants. So the most common thing is the capsules. So many women have heard about the benefits of consuming their placenta, but they don't want to consume raw placenta. And I get that. Some women do, some women are fine with that, but most women want a more palatable, easy, hassle-free way to get the benefits. So what I do is I've had really in-depth training and from IPAN, and I predominantly dehydrate the placenta, and then I get it into capsules for you. So it's the end product is a jar with some capsules that you can take up to 3 times a day. So you're getting the benefits without any of the hassle.